Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to another draft video, guys. I want to get right to the point. I am going to be giving you 5 prospects that I view as automatic busts for the 2021 draft. And guys, if you don't agree with my list, the good news is this video is on record, so we can come back to this video and see if I was right or if I was wrong. But normally when it comes to stuff like this, I'm very accurate, especially finding 5 potential first-round picks that are going to be busts. Now, before I talk about those 5 prospects, I found a very useful site. It's not 100% perfect, but it's a very useful site. It's called Mock Draft Database, and you can kind of see where every player is being mocked, where they're trending to. It combines all the different mock drafts, as you can see, the different players, things like that. So, just an interesting site, and that's the kind of site I'm going to be using, their overall big board, to, judge on whether or not a player is a potential first rounder, guys. Let's get right into it. At number 5 on the most overrated, we're going to be going from number 5 to number 1, the most overrated potential busts in the 2021 draft. We have Rashard Bateman, and I was very surprised to see the Minnesota product ranked 23rd overall on this big board. He's getting mocked as high as 14th overall. We see him there projected possibly to Chicago at 20th. This is a guy I view as a mid-second rounder. I think he can be a good player, but I'm not seeing any of those elite first-round traits from a Rashard Bateman at all. I think if somebody takes him in the first round, it's a major reach, and I don't see him having that A.J. Brown type impact on any sort of team. DK Metcalf, who, funny enough, went in the second round, that type of impact on the team. So Rashard Bateman, the wide receiver, comes in at number 5. At number 4, we have a guy currently ranked 35th on this mock draft database big board, but he's getting a lot of first round hype right now. It is Jayson Oweh out of Penn State. I'm sure a lot of people probably haven't heard of this guy. He had 0 sacks last year, and guys, I think this edge rusher class is absolutely pathetic, and I think there are many overrated prospects. You take a look at Jayson Oweh. This is a typical guy who's getting mocked very high because of his athleticism. And while it's good to have great athleticism for the NFL, we need to see production in college. There's no production this year. I know it was only an 8 or a 9 game season for Penn State. They didn't have a good year. 0 sacks, guys. That screams bust to me. These scouts, they fall in love with athleticism. Give me actual production. There's no production coming from Jayson Oweh last year. And you take a look at his career, he really hasn't done much throughout his career in his 3 years. Now, I get he's coming out. Be very wary of him if your team does draft him. Moving on now to number 3, it's another edge player, and it's Quintin Payne out of Michigan. This is another guy. I'm not seeing the production. I saw a nice 2019. He had 12.5 tackles for loss. He had 6.5 sacks. I'm just not seeing enough production out of a guy like Quintin Payne to warrant being drafted as high as in the top 10, where some mock drafts are putting Quintin Payne out of Michigan. I think he has a lot of elite tools. He's kind of a hybrid pass rusher. He's a quick, twitchy dude. I understand that, but this is your typical bust, guys. This is your typical guy who gets drafted high, ends up having 4 sacks his rookie year, doesn't live up to like the 13th or 14th pick where he's being mocked. The current consensus has him 14th overall, but I've seen him a lot higher than that. You look at Pro Football Focus, mocking him as high as 4th overall. Guys, these kids need to have some production in college. They're the typical busts. Quintin Payne is ranked number 3rd. Moving on to number 2. Now, this is a controversial one. It is going to be Mac Jones, and I really don't have anything against Mac Jones, and it does matter, especially with quarterbacks, where they get drafted. Mac Jones' career could be drastically different if he goes to a team like Washington instead of a team like San Francisco, right? Because of just the infrastructure, the way it's built. But this is what I'll say about Mac Jones. Mac Jones has 3 ingredients for being a bust at the quarterback position. Number 1, limited starts. He only started 1 season at Alabama. Number 2, phenomenal skill position players around him. Great offensive line, things like that. And number 3, he's not at all mobile. So there's going to be a major reliance on the offensive line. He's not athletic at all. Mac Jones is being mocked as high as 8th, 7th overall. Mel Kiper recently said he's not making it out of the top 15. Mac Jones must go to a team that has a good offensive line, or he needs to sit a year. I don't know. Mac Jones right now being mocked very high. Again, guys, limited starts. You got a guy like Devontae Smith. I know Waddle was injured. Phenomenal offensive line. Mac Jones is just sitting back there at Alabama. He's got, phenomenal pass catchers. He's got Najee Harris. I mean, This is a typical quarterback bust, guys, and I was thinking about going with Trey Lance on this list as well, but I really can't get a good read on Trey Lance. To me, Trey Lance is a lot like Jordan Love, although Trey Lance is even more of a mystery because he only played one game his junior year, so we'll have to see what happens with him. I'm not going to put him on this list because I'm not 100% sure he's going to be a bust, but someone like Mac Jones, guys, if he doesn't go to a good team, he's just not mobile enough. You take a look at what Baron Browning did to him in the national championship game, one of the very few times Ohio State got pressure. Mac Jones, I know Alabama fans love him. He's an accurate quarterback. He was very accurate. Yes, you can sit back in the pocket for 10 seconds, wait for someone to get open, wait for Devontae Smith to get open down the sideline and deliver an accurate ball. In the NFL, it's a lot different. The clock speeds up on you. It's a lot faster. Everything happens quicker. I think the game's going to be a lot faster, and it's going to speed up. It's going to be too fast for Mac Jones in the NFL. That is my personal opinion. 1-year starter, guys. Those type of quarterbacks normally do not pan out in the NFL. Mac Jones, a pure bust, especially if he goes top 10 to a bad team. Oh my goodness, pure bust, guys. Moving on to the number 1 overall spot, the guy I'm convinced the most is going to be a complete bust. It is Gregory Russo out of Miami of Florida. And this is a guy I've said for a while now will be a 100% bust. He's actually kind of moved out of the top 10 in some of these mock drafts. He was consistently getting mocked as the top edge pass rusher. I think his agent did a very smart thing telling him to sit out his junior year, claiming it was because of COVID. You know, this is a guy that did have great counting stats his second year at Miami. Almost 20 tackles for loss, 15 and a half sacks, 2 forced fumbles. Those are impressive numbers, but I'm not buying it with this kid at all. And he's actually tumbling down draft boards right now, 16th overall, but you take a look at his overall trend. He was a top 10 guy consistently. He's gone down. I think his agent said, listen, you had a great season last year. Say, oh, it's because of COVID, I'm going to sit out. But no, if Gregory Russo played this year, I don't think he'd be getting mocked in any first rounders. I don't see it with him. Personally, guys, this edge class is really underwhelming for me. And guys, if you don't agree with my list, the great thing is we can always go back on this video. It is on record, ladies and gentlemen. This is a top 5 list. It includes Rashard Bateman, it includes Jason Owe, it includes Mac Jones, it includes Quintin Payne, and it includes Gregory Russo as my number 1 pure bust. If your team drafts Gregory Russo, good luck, you're gonna need it, guys. That's gonna do it for this video, guys. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.